Hello, I'm Dr. Case Lilly, and I'd like to briefly review with you our course site so that you can comfortably navigate throughout the semester. I am unavailable to meet with you in person on January 23rd, which is our first scheduled evening together. I will be back to meet with you live on January 30th. I will have no access to email through January 27th. I apologize for any inconvenience that may cause, but I will respond immediately to any emails or messages that I receive upon my return. So if you're listening to this recording, you've accessed our D2L course site. In particular, this is Emergency Management 605, which is Social Dimensions of Disaster. I want to point out to you on this home page, in particular, this area that says Announcements. If there's ever any immediate information that I wish to communicate with you, I will post it here in the announcements section. So please be sure to reference that regularly. You'll also see here that I have content, discussions, and assignments linked directly to the home page. This is for easy access for you. These are the three main areas where you will be that you'll be using throughout the semester, in addition to the online course classroom. So as I said, you can click on Content here under Announcements, or you can go up to Resources and click on Content. This will take you to some essential information that's very important for your review. You'll see that there is the syllabus, the Netiquette handout, which I will reference, but be sure you remember to go to Resources and then Content in order to access these documents. 605 question facilitators. These are dates. Each of you will have 2 opportunities to facilitate some questions related to a chapter that's been pre-assigned. So you'll want to also access this particular document and look at when you've been scheduled to facilitate the discussions. I've already come up with the questions, so it makes it hopefully a bit easier for you. But this gives everyone an opportunity to kind of lead a discussion. Everybody is expected to prepare for these discussions by having read and responded, at least in their own notes, to these questions. So the facilitator's job isn't to pull teeth, so to speak, but to actually help guide the conversation. There's also a research project. This is where you can come to learn a bit more about that. And then a list of approved disaster, nonfiction disaster books. These are the books that you'll choose one to read for your research project assignment. And here's also some information about the Department of Counseling and Human Development at Millersville University in case you have any needs that you think may be addressed by this particular department. So again, please remember to come back to this area and review these additional documents. But for now, I'd like to walk you through our syllabus. Everything that you need to know about the course is truly on D2L, and much of it is in the syllabus. I recommend that you spend some time really familiarizing yourself with the syllabus and the details contained within it. I'm not going to read the syllabus to you in this recording, but I am going to highlight for you some of the important information, kind of the basics to get you started. As you already know, I'm sure classes are scheduled for Mondays at 7 p.m. Our first live synchronous discussion will be on January 30th. Our first scheduled one is the 23rd, but I am unavailable to join you on the 23rd, so we will pick up on January 30th. You can read over the learning goals. Hopefully you've already obtained your textbook, in particular Social Vulnerability to Disasters. We will be reading this book in its entirety, and you'll notice that in the sections that are forthcoming, SVD is the designated abbreviation for Social Vulnerability to Disasters. So if you see that abbreviation, you'll know that I'm referring to our main course text. There are 350 points allocated to the course. you have 50 points that are devoted to weekly synchronous discussions. Synchronous meaning we are in sync, we're meeting together on Monday evenings. I realize that many, if not all of you, are professionals working in your field. Your time is not always as flexible as you might like. And so this is a rather small portion of your grade. I don't want to make it so that individuals who have really demanding schedules or difficult schedules are unable to do well in the course because of their schedule and when our assignments or when our class meetings are scheduled. So this is why it's worth relatively small portion of your grade. What is important is that you're available on your facilitation dates to facilitate the discussions. If for some reason you're assigned on a date that you're unavailable, I am perfectly fine with you trading dates or topics with a fellow student. Please just let me know in advance who is switching. Another very significant portion of your grade is the asynchronous discussions, which occur on a weekly basis. They're worth 150 points in total. And you'll see that you have some guided prompts that will give you some direction in terms of what you should be focusing on each week. But they will be related specifically to the chapters that you are assigned. And finally, there is a research project, which is equally as heavily weighted in the course as your weekly asynchronous discussions. That research project is worth 150 points. You'll select a book from the approved book list that I showed you in resources and content. And that will actually be a part of your first week's asynchronous discussion post. I'm picking your top 3 books, and I will confirm with you which book you'll be doing for, you'll be focused upon for your research project this semester. I'm just flipping through these first few pages. Please go back and read them closely for your own information. If you have questions, feel free to contact me, and I will reply as soon as I can after my return, which will be January 28th. Technically, I should be up and running back in the office, so to speak. So we'll just focus on week 1 for right now, which is what we're currently in. As you can see, it's a pre-recorded introduction to the course. I hope that you have read. If you haven't already, you will read the Netiquette handout, which again I referenced in resources content. It's a pretty basic review of expectations in terms of etiquette in the classroom, in particular online classroom. Your asynchronous assignment for the week is to write a personal statement that introduces yourself. You'll include your academic and professional background and interests, as well as your top 3 research project book selections. Be sure to leave at least 2 substantive comments on 2 different peers' posts and moderate your original post. This is standard operating procedure, so sometimes I give you more specific prompts in given weeks than others. I usually start off with a bit more focus and then allow you to kind of broaden your focus. But in every assignment, each week, my intent is to have you focus on something that will provide some meaning and depth to you and your personal path in emergency management. Sometimes there are students who can get kind of anxious when they don't have a really prescribed path forward. My goal is in no way to create or induce anxiety among students, but I do want you to engage in these activities and exercises and cater them in a way that will benefit you and your future. So use them, wisely and to your benefit. If you ever have any questions regarding, a particular path you want to take, please feel free to contact me and I will help you in any way that I can. So that is your Thursday, January 26th assignment, which is due by 11:59 p.m. You'll have assignments due each week on Thursdays moving forward. So Mondays are synchronous discussions, Thursdays are asynchronous assignments. or your written discussion posts. Posts should generally be around 2 to 3 pages double-spaced, thoughtful academic pieces of work. They're not simply kind of a message on a blog post or anything of that nature. These truly are small academic papers that you're turning into me weekly. You're just turning them in a format that allows everyone to see, read, and comment on your thoughts for the week. So this is a low-stakes attempt at getting you used to the ins and outs of the course and the expectations. First time we will actually meet together live will be on Monday, January 30th at 7 p.m., where I will review the fundamentals of the sociology of disaster. By then you should have obtained and read in your textbook Chapter 1. And know that you'll have an asynchronous assignment due again, which is your second assignment, on Thursday, February 2nd. That is also due by 11:59 p.m. For week 2, you're going to write a profile of a leader in your area of interest. So suitable subjects are not only political, military, and business leaders, but also thought leaders, change agents, and people who make a difference in a significant way. How is this person an example of a leader in the emergency management field? Be sure to incorporate information from this week's assigned reading into your response. Leave at least 2 substantive comments on 2 different peers' posts and moderate your original posts. So I am a professor at the University of Delaware. I also am fortunate enough to teach as an adjunct faculty member here online in the emergency management program, as well as the undergraduate sociology program. And let's say that my interests were to one day be the director of the Center for Disaster Research and Education, which is currently the position of Seppi Yalda. The individual profile that I might focus on would be that of Seppi, or Dr. Yalda. And I would do some research regarding her background, how she got to, the position that she's currently in, why that's a position that I think is desirable. That's just an example of something that I might do that really personalizes this information and gets me thinking about how this topic area relates to my bigger vision and goals for my future in emergency management. So this will be very much a piece that is unique to you. If we go into week 3, you'll see that for class on Monday, February 6th, you should have read chapters 2 and 3. This is when we'll start with our question facilitators. So you've been assigned 2 different times over the course of the semester chapters and particular questions that you'll be responsible for facilitating. So please be sure you go back to that Contents, Resources, Contents tab and look at when you've been assigned. If for some reason there is a conflict, I am perfectly fine with you making changes, switching with your peers. Please just let me know once you've decided to make those changes. So in week 3, you'll actually conduct an interview with someone, a supervisor, a peer, mentor in your field, with something you hope to accomplish someday. So I'm going to go back and use Dr. Yalda again. Perhaps instead of doing some research on her and not communicating with her directly, because this is someone I know and have contact with, I might actually ask Dr. Yalda to sit down with me and ask a few questions regarding her path and how she found herself in the position that she's in today as director of the Center for Disaster Research Center at Millersville. And then you can move forward looking at each of the weeks and the assigned expectations moving forward. Please spend this time next week having reviewed all of the documents that I've referenced under resources and content. Carefully familiarize yourself with the syllabus and come prepared with questions, as well as having read the first chapter of our textbook when we meet for the first time live on January 30th. Thanks for listening. Have a great week, and I look forward to meeting all of you next week. Good night.